Good morning to all of you. First of all, let me thank to Professor Rogério Rodrigues for the invitation and to thanks for this wonderful presentation of the project. I was very surprised and excited to use the tools and the platform and become a member. What is the challenge? So I'm prepared some kind of presentation. I usually don't like very much slides, but I think probably my English will be better on writing. So I prepare some slides, and I would like to give some time to debate or to discussion because it's the most interesting part, and ask you to take some notes to share with me your comments or additions or questions, whatever. So I will try to remain on the 20 minutes, not to spend a lot of time. And I think I share the screen with you by now, and it's okay in presentation mode. Do you hear me well?
Yes. Yes.
And do you see well the presentation?
Ainda not. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So this is my lecture. I thought to, oh, now I see the room. Hello, everybody. Hello. Yes. I was very unhappy not seeing nobody, but it's okay. And I prepare in 3 parts, going by questioning some possibilities about ethics education, clarifying concepts, short, and then explore. And I will present you 9 declarations or propositions or theses that are idea about ethics education in an interdisciplinary way. And then some of my experience as a teacher of ethics and that in nursing. So I will send the presentation so you don't have to take notes. You can hear and read, because what I'm saying, I was really afraid you don't understand. So I write it. It's not a good example with a lot of text, but the idea, what do we intend by ethics, by deontology, by ethics education, by teaching ethics? Some people could ask if it is teachable, and the idea that is very important in healthcare professions. So how we could share ethics, not only in nursing, but in the team of healthcare providers. And that's the idea. What are we talking about? Ethics, deontology, bioethics, what common field can we design? And the question about interdisciplinarity, what is my interdisciplinary team, interprofessional members, and the idea we are not talking only about multidisciplinary, that people are together focused in a goal, or the objective, one of the objectives of this project is development of interdisciplinary problem solving skills. And the idea, what are problem solving skills? Are they interdisciplinary, or we require a debate on ethics in the team? And finalizing this first part, the idea that ethics is all over on this day. The Z generation is very sensitive to ethical issues. We are talking about ethicals in clothes, in sport, in photography, in digital ethics, artificial intelligence, and is all over us. We can look around, everybody's concerned about ethical, so it will be a very good time to develop and improve ethics in healthcare. And to clarify some concepts, the idea when we talk about ethics, we are talking about principles and values. I usually say it's very easy to distinguish, to differentiate between ethics and deontology, because ethics is about the good. Anytime, any occasion you say good practices, this is an ethical issue, because we have the relation to good. And the idea that deontology is about duties. So when I say I want to do something because it's important to me, and is a kind of value, personal value or group value, we are talking about ethical dimension. When you talk about rules, about duties, obligations. This is deontology. I really appreciate a philosopher that wrote in French, Soi-même comme un autre, or translated, and you can find the file on the internet easily, oneself as another. Paul Ricoeur, that say that when we talk about ethics, we are talking about having a good life, and it's necessary to be with others in just institutions. So the idea, when they talk about ethics, one face of the concepts is private, is personal, but we do not exist without the others and without institutions. So the idea that is very closed, ethics is very close with other fields, with other neighbors, if you want me to say so, because we are talking about ethical practices, clinical practices, research practices, and ethics in research and ethics in clinical field. So it's very close to each other with rules of conduct, or in our country, with a code of ethics. So the idea that we can think about deontological issues more as moral obligations defined in a society by law. In our country, I think you know, it's professional ethics. And on your right side, I believe, I put some pictures from the artist Tim Okamura. There are some, but this one I think it's very interesting because the representation for nurses is about courage, compassion, and the idea these are values of professional ethics. So people recognize them. And the third concept is about education. And what I hear for the project, I know you already discussed this concept and the idea that we are talking about learning and acquired knowledge or experiences, and the idea that we could put them together. I hear the manifest, sorry. I hear the manifest, and one of the ideas is exactly that you don't have technical capability without ethical responsibility. I usually said you cannot take a clinical decision without ethical decision making when you are facing people that are imbibed inside. So the idea that ethics education is a very open concept term for inclusion of all learning experiences, debates you can provide about and a lot of topics. And the idea there are teaching ethics is a very exciting experience. I can say that. What are we talking about? Disciplinary and interdisciplinary. And the idea that is a specific body of teachable knowledge, meaning we can teach it like a way of thinking, a procedure, a method of going, and we have contents, and probably we can share it with other disciplines, especially in healthcare, because we have a large tradition since the 70s, the having discussion and cases and debates between several disciplines. So we can see interdisciplinary debate as a methodology of working. So it's very important to share it and to discuss it in order to have a common horizon in the team. And the third topic, I promise I won't bother you a long time. The third topic is the one I spend more time because it is a kind of focused in several statements or declarations, and to have some fundament for them, I will make a kind of constructive path. So all disciplines mean all fields of discipline. We are in the epistemological fields, are cooperative activities with standards of excellency. And this first statement say that all of us, each one of us and all of us in health field, we have a knowledge domain, and all the practices we have are cooperative activities. You know, health is not about one profession or one discipline. People who need care need all attention from all fields, probably, and we need to be working together in order to have a good practice or best practice if you want to, and have a proper ethical dimension. So every one of us has standards of excellency, meaning we do what we do, and I think about guidelines, clinical orientation standards that represent the best evidence. So we all have it, best evidence, good practices, good sounds the idea of ethical foundation. The good life, which one looks for, is related to interpersonal, but not only to the other persons, is also connected or related with living well in institutions. And we need to make some effort to be happy and have well-being around us in the institution, in the ward, in the team. And the idea that we need to act in order to be effectively member of one group or the team. The idea is that we have huge responsibility in management of our relations in the team. And the last one is an expression from one movie. I don't know if you can say and I can hear it, but I will ask you if you recognize the expression, with great powers come great responsibilities. Which movie am I quoting? Can you say?
Yes. Yes.
You recognize the expression, yes. Okay. Is from the movie? I can't hear you, but I say it's from Spider-Man, and it is quoted in a law in the United States exactly because of this propagation of the idea. So ethics can be taught, learned, and debated. The issue, the problem, is to sometimes it becomes very theoretical, very boring, and people doesn't like it very much because they think it's very difficult. So how can we do it? How can we teach it? How can we use some tools? I will experiment your tools from your platform, but on the years, what it comes very clear to me is that students like ethics when they are challenged to work in cases, to debate ideas, and to see it in the whole degree of nursing has an ethical foundation, an ethical basis. It's not possible to be a nurse without a strong ethical education. And we should not avoid, or if you want to put it in positive way, we must approach the ethics foundation problem, meaning what is now founding the ethics. And the idea that values and human rights remain universal. So we are talking not about religion or the basing our rules in a religious ways, as we have done it in the past in humankind, but we are now focused that moral community we have to have mutual respect with another, recognizing the dignity of the other, and the idea that these kind of interrelation are relations of recognition of the other. So it's quite what we do as nurses, taking care of people, recognizing their dignity. I usually said, you don't give people dignity. They have it. You recognize it or not. So the idea that sometimes we need really to focus on the foundation, the moral values and of our community and the rights of the persons. Ethic is lacking, should be present in all curriculums, and not only in nursing curriculum, but also nursing curriculum. And we are talking about new ethical challenges. I speak about artificial intelligence, ethics of science. There are a lot of micro disciplines emerging, and we really need to strong our teacher education on ethics because it's also kind of gap. And there are a lack of explicit ethics instruction for teachers and for students. And I'm not saying it's only for students. The ethics in the curriculum, explicitly on the curriculum, is a very interesting field to research because we have a constatation. I have in Portugal is very interesting. We have ethics and deontology together. usually because we teach ethics in nursing and bioethics, and we teach deontology, that is the code of ethics in Portugal, and some shared with the European code. I'm sixth, yes. Interdisciplinary debates and students' choices are successful methods. This is not only about what is written on the books, it is written on the books anyway, but the approach with students to have a choice in the work they do. It's my very strong experience when I say you can do an essay. In which aspect, which matter, what you want, because everything is an ethical connection, relation, and it will be inspired if you study something you like it, to do an essay or to do recension, whatever. What can I recense? You can recense a book, a chapter, a book, an episode of a series, a movie, whatever. Need to be related with ethics and the healthcare field, nothing more, so you can choose. And in my experience, interdisciplinary debate and student choices are really two ways of success, because students really improve their performance, that the, not, I won't say happiness, but the satisfaction to do something they want to do. Ethics education is very suitable for interdisciplinary learning and teaching. I have been teaching in different fields, in nursing, in physiotherapy, in speech, in master of biomedical engineering, in law, in several and different fields. And this is a very strong idea I have that is very suitable for we to debate, and then you go to practice and you work together, because sometimes the curriculum has these periods of theory learning and then internship or clinical education. So the idea, we can really use ethics as a way to link disciplines and link professionals. And there are a closeness between citizenship and ethics education. Because when we think about being in a community, participating in public life, and Aristotle used to say that the good man is in the streets of the city, because if you are well educated and you are ethical concerned, you need to put that competences on the service of your community and to have a public participation as a nurse, as a citizen. And this is very important. The idea to fight for rights, to the right to belong of some community. And the final one is there are challenges of interdisciplinary debate in ethics education. And ethical challenges are very important to develop, to deepen study, to be more aware or more developed awareness about this. The International Association for Education in Ethics say that ethics teaching has a special significance at a global level, and they're now talking about globalization, since it will address a variety of different perspectives, providing new insights into ethics from various cultural experiences from around the world. So ethics is not a closed world, a closed street. Some you can think as a old fashion, but the idea that you can use ethics itself to develop the interdisciplinary debate. And to my final slides, I will present you that sometimes I discuss papers with students, not only to read and to know myself, but the potential of debating the last evidence about ethics education also. So we are talking about a kind of metacognitive approach. And then I made an inventory a few years ago, and I use usually the inventory, putting the themes of the movies and say, we are going to start next week the class with the discussion of this movie, whatever. I already told you about episodes, movies, books, chapters, news, whatever. And sometimes I say my students can choose, and in the past years, they choose very different themes. Now, you need to raise your voice, but do you recognize the images in the room? Please.
Yeah.
On the left of all, there is?
Yes, yes.
What is the series?
In the left. Recognize.
There's a man and a girl crossing country with very dangerous situation. You don't see The Last of Us? Okay. No, I have another slide. I put the legend,
Second, yeah.
yes, yeah, The Last of Us, especially the episode 3. The New Amsterdam, they choose one episode. France, one episode, and the Rogue One. So you can do an ethical approach in healthcare, in almost everything around you. The other exercise, I do it last year, not for a long time, but it was a very good experience with my first year. And first year on nursing degree. And they said they would look very interested in the issues because I put a quote, usually one quote in one slide, and ask them if they recognize the quote. And usually you need to put the sources in the quote. It was very interesting because last year, all my students identify without pain, without sacrifice, we would have nothing. And they missed the movie, but you can be anything you want to be. So you can look at a movie, at an episode, at a news, whatever, to pick an issue and take an object. And during and after clinical experiences, it's very interesting to discuss the case and to identify what they have learned in the discussion at that case and what they need to continue to deepen to learn more. So you can use several strategies and methods to, I don't know, making ethics a kind of issue that is very present and very important in your life, is not a kind of accessory you could dispense to use. So the idea is you need to be focused that everything about values, about principles, about rights of the others, about respecting people as and the planet is about ethics. So it will become much more interesting. So that's all. And like the movie, that's all, folks. Okay, that's what I have prepared to share to you. So now, if you want to ask me or comment, I will appreciate.